Today we're going to talk about Chapter 7 guidelines, the diseases of the eye and adnexa. And there were no changes to the Chapter 7 guidelines in 2017, so you are free to use those guidelines there in front of Chapter 7 in your code book. We'll start with some general information. Assign as many codes from category H40 glaucoma as needed to identify the type of glaucoma, the affected eye, and the glaucoma stage. Most of the guidelines, in fact I think all the guidelines in this chapter have to do with glaucoma. If a patient's admitted with glaucoma and the stage progresses during the admission, you're going to assign the code for the highest stage that was documented. We do have an example in this PowerPoint about that. And also, when you assign the seventh character for meaning indeterminate stage, that is based on clinical documentation. The seventh character 4 means the physician cannot determine what stage it is. That is not the same as a seventh character 0, which is meaning there's no documentation to help the coder know what stage. So different situations there for how you would use that seventh character. We have an example of that as well. The first guideline has to do with bilateral glaucoma, the same type and the same stage. When a patient has a bilateral glaucoma and both eyes documented as being the same type and the same stage, and there's a code for bilateral, you only need the code for the type of glaucoma, bilateral, with the seventh character for the stage. And the example we have here, bilateral severe stage pigmentary glaucoma. When you go to the index and you look up glaucoma pigmentary, it sends you to glaucoma open angle primary pigmentary. When you go there, you get the H220.221 and when you go back to the tabular and look this up, the sixth character, the number 3, indicates that the condition is bilateral, and the seventh character, the number 3, indicates the stage, which is severe. A bilateral open angle glaucoma, not specified as to type, and the stage is indeterminate in both eyes. So your guideline tells you when a patient has a bilateral glaucoma, both eyes are the same type and stage, and the classification doesn't provide a code for bilateral, you report only one code for the type of glaucoma with the appropriate seventh character for the stage. So the glaucoma open angle takes you to H220.221. The sixth character needs an X as a placeholder because you have to have a seventh character to identify the stage, and our scenario tells us that the stage is indeterminate, which is the number 4. So just as a reminder, in this scenario the patient has glaucoma, the same type and stage of both eyes, but there's no code specifically for bilateral glaucoma, but only one code is assigned with the appropriate seventh character for the stage, which in this case is indeterminate. Here's an example of a bilateral glaucoma stage with different types or stages. Bilateral chronic angle closure glaucoma. The right eye is mild stage, the left eye is moderate. The documentation is there telling us you've got both eyes involved, but different types and different stages. Same type, different stages. So the guideline is when a patient has bilateral glaucoma and each eye documented as having a different type or stage, classification distinguishes laterality, assign the appropriate code for each eye rather than the code for bilateral. And in this case, this particular code, H220.22, does provide for the coder to identify the eye with the sixth character, and the seventh character is the stage. And I have there how I assign the sixth and seventh characters. Another example, documentation relates mild unspecified primary angle closure glaucoma of the left eye with mild unspecified open angle glaucoma of the right eye. So in this case, they have different types of glaucoma. The codes involved do not distinguish laterality, so we're going to assign one code for each type of glaucoma with the appropriate seventh character for the stage. And you see there what I've done. Patient admitted with glaucoma and the stage evolves during the admission, you're going to always code the highest stage that's documented in the record. The example that's given here, a patient admitted with mild low-tension glaucoma of the right eye progresses to a moderate stage during the patient's stay. Going to the index of low-tension glaucoma takes us to glaucoma Openangle primary low tension, which takes us to H220.221. That sixth character 1 identifies the right eye. The seventh character 2 identifies the moderate stage, which we are coding because it is the more severe of the two stages that are listed there in the scenario. If you have any questions related to Chapter 7 guidelines, please post them in discussion board. I think it's pretty straightforward but easily confused. So please look at the podcast more than once, read through the guidelines several times, look at examples to help you distinguish between these different things the guidelines are talking about. Thank you so much and have